In September 2017, a hiker stumbled upon something in the Colorado Rockies that would unravel one of the most heartbreaking mysteries in American history. A weathered camera bag. Inside, 204 photographs that told a story no one was meant to see. A story of hope turning into desperation, of dreams becoming nightmares, and of a woman who vanished without a trace 25 years earlier. This is the true story of what happened to Sarah Mitchell and the haunting images she left behind. But before we begin, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button right now and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is over there. Seriously, pause and do it now, because what you're about to hear, you won't believe it's real. And I need to know this story is reaching people everywhere. All right, let's go back to where it all began. June 1992, Seattle, Washington. 28-year-old Sarah Mitchell had just quit her job as an elementary school art teacher. Not because she hated it, she loved those kids, but Sarah had a dream that was eating her alive from the inside out. She wanted to be a wilderness photographer. Her apartment walls were covered with her work, cascading waterfalls, mountain peaks piercing through clouds, wildlife in their natural habitat. Her best friend, Rebecca Chen, told police later that Sarah would spend entire weekends in the woods, sometimes not speaking to another human being for days. She said the wilderness was where she felt most alive, Rebecca recalled in her police statement. She said she felt closer to God out there than anywhere else. Sarah had saved $14,000, every penny from 2 years of teaching, living on ramen noodles and skipping nights out with friends. She had a plan. She'd spend the summer documenting the Pacific Northwest, then head south to Colorado, Utah, Arizona. By fall, she'd have a portfolio strong enough to pitch to National Geographic, Outdoor Magazine, anyone who would listen. Her parents weren't thrilled. Her father, a mechanic from Tacoma, thought she was throwing her life away. Her mother cried when Sarah loaded up her 1985 Toyota pickup truck that June morning. But Sarah promised them, 3 months, that's all she needed. "I'll be back by September," she told her mother at the doorway, "and I'll have pictures that will change everything." She was never seen alive again. For the first 6 weeks, everything went according to plan. Sarah called her parents every Sunday from payphones along the highway. She sent postcards from Olympic National Park, Mount Rainier, Crater Lake. Her photographs were stunning. She'd even sold a few prints to a gallery in Portland for $300. By late July, she'd made her way to Colorado. The last person to see Sarah Mitchell was a gas station attendant named Tom Berkeley in the small town of Ridgway, Colorado. He remembered her because she bought a map, beef jerky, and asked about hiking trails in the San Juan Mountains. She seemed excited, Tom told investigators, happy. She said she was going to capture something special. She said she could feel it. That was August 2nd, 1992. When Sarah didn't call her parents that Sunday, they weren't immediately worried. Maybe she was out of range. Maybe she forgot. But when Monday came and went, then Tuesday, her father called the police. By August 10th, a missing persons report had been filed across 3 states. Search parties combed the San Juan Mountains for 2 weeks. They found her truck abandoned at a trailhead near Silver Creek Basin. The keys were still in the ignition. Her wallet was in the glove compartment, $63 in cash, untouched. Her tent and sleeping bag were gone, along with her backpack and camera equipment, but there was no sign of Sarah. No footprints leading away from the truck, no evidence of a struggle, no witnesses, nothing. Theories swirled like wildfire. Some thought she'd been attacked by a wild animal. Others suspected foul play, maybe a drifter or someone who'd seen a young woman alone and vulnerable. The darkest theories suggested she'd fallen into a ravine or gotten lost and succumbed to the elements. Her parents never gave up hope. For years, her mother kept Sarah's bedroom exactly as she'd left it. Birthday cards arrived at their house every year on Sarah's birthday, unsigned, from someone who believed she was still out there. But as years turned into decades, the case went cold. The file gathered dust in a Colorado sheriff's office. Sarah Mitchell became another name on a long list of people who walked into the wilderness and never walked back out. Until 25 years later, when the mountains finally gave up their secrets. September 23, 2017. David Torres, a 52-year-old accountant from Denver, was on a solo backpacking trip in the San Juan Mountains. He'd been hiking for 3 days, pushing deeper into the backcountry than he'd ever gone before. That's when he saw it. Tucked underneath an overhang of rocks, partially buried under 25 years of leaves and debris, was a faded green camera bag. "At first, I thought it was just trash," said David in an interview later, "but something made me check it out. I don't know why, I almost walked right past it." Inside the bag was a Canon AE-1, its body corroded and damaged by decades of exposure. But the film canisters were sealed tight. 4 rolls of 36 exposure film, 1 roll of 24, 144 shots on sealed rolls, and 60 shots on the roll still in the camera. David immediately called the authorities. Within hours, search and rescue teams descended on the area, but they found nothing else. No remains, no backpack, no tent, just the camera bag wedged into a crevice as if someone had hidden it there deliberately. The film was sent to a specialist laboratory in Boulder. The technicians didn't hold out much hope. Film degrades quickly in the elements. Moisture, temperature fluctuations, time itself, it all destroys the delicate emulsion that holds the images. But when they developed the first roll in a darkened room, using techniques reserved for the most fragile historical photographs, they couldn't believe what they saw. 204 photographs had survived, and what they showed would haunt everyone who saw them. The first 30 photographs were exactly what you'd expect: majestic landscapes, an elk drinking from a crystal-clear stream, sunrise over mountain peaks. Sarah's technical skill was obvious even to the lab technicians who weren't photographers. The composition, the lighting, the way she captured moments of pure natural beauty. These were the photographs of someone chasing a dream. Photos 31 through 60 showed Sarah's campsite, her tent set up in a meadow surrounded by flowers, her boots by the fire, a self-portrait of her smiling, holding a cup of coffee, the mountains reflected in her sunglasses. In this photo, she looked happy, peaceful, exactly where she wanted to be. But then the photographs began to change. Photo 61 was taken at dusk. The sky was turning purple and orange, but there was something else in the frame. In the distant tree line, barely visible, was what looked like another campfire.
Sarah wasn't alone out there. Photos 62 through 75 were taken the next morning. Sarah had moved her camp. The images showed her packing up quickly, equipment scattered, not the careful organization visible in earlier shots. One photo captured her looking over her shoulder, back toward the tree line. You could see it in her body language. Something had changed. Photo 76 made the investigators' blood run cold. It was taken from inside Sarah's tent. The photo was dark, shot with a flash. Through the mesh window of her tent, you could see the faint glow of a campfire in the distance. The timestamp on this photo was 2:47 a.m. Sarah had been awake in the middle of the night, watching, afraid to sleep. The next series of photographs showed Sarah hiking, but these weren't the leisurely nature shots from before. These were taken while moving fast, sometimes blurry, as if she was documenting her route, marking her path, leaving a trail for someone to follow. Photo 89 showed a stream crossing. Photo 94 showed a fallen tree she'd climbed over. Photo 103 showed a distinctive rock formation shaped like a crescent moon. She was leaving breadcrumbs. By photo 110, Sarah had climbed higher into the mountains. The vegetation changed, the air looked thinner, and in the background of several shots, always in the distance, always barely visible, there was someone else. A figure too far away to identify, sometimes between trees, sometimes on a ridge above her, never close enough to see clearly, but always there, always following. Photos 111 through 130 were different. Sarah had stopped running. These photographs were taken from a cave or rock shelter. You could see the granite walls in the edges of the frame, and for the first time, Sarah had turned the camera on herself. Not selfies, not portraits, documentation. In photo 117, she held up 3 fingers to the camera. Day 3, investigators assumed. 3 days since she'd first seen whoever was following her. In photo 121, she held up a water bottle, nearly empty. In photo 125, she showed her ankle, swollen, possibly sprained or broken. The injury explained why she'd stopped moving, why she'd taken shelter. But the most devastating photograph in this series was photo 130. Sarah had written something on a piece of paper torn from a notebook and photographed it. The image was grainy, shot in low light, but forensic analysts were able to enhance it enough to read what she'd written. "Mom and Dad, I love you. I tried to get away. My ankle is broken. I can't walk anymore. If someone finds this camera, please tell them I tried. Tell Rebecca I'm sorry I didn't listen when she said not to go alone. Tell them..." The message ended there. The rest was too damaged to read. Photos 131 through 165 showed the view from Sarah's shelter. Mountains, sky, clouds rolling in, a rainstorm, the changing light suggesting days passing, and in almost every photo, somewhere in the frame, was that distant figure, watching, waiting. Photo 166 was taken at night. The flash illuminated something just outside the shelter. Scraps of food, an energy bar wrapper. Someone had left supplies at the entrance to the cave while Sarah was inside. Not a rescue, not help. Someone was keeping her alive. The next 20 photographs were nearly identical. The same view, the same mountains, taken at different times of day, as if Sarah was marking time, as if she knew these photographs might be the only evidence of what happened to her. Then came photo 187. This one was different. This one showed human hands, not Sarah's hands. These were larger, rougher. They were holding something toward the camera: firewood, water, food. And at the bottom of the frame, you could see boots, men's hiking boots, worn and muddy. Whoever had been following Sarah had finally come to her. Photos 188 through 195 showed more of the same, supplies being delivered, always just the hands, never the face, as if the person knew they were being documented and deliberately stayed out of frame. But photo 196 changed everything. It was taken from a different angle, as if Sarah had hidden the camera and set it to take a photo automatically. And in this image, you could see the person, a man, maybe 40 years old, bearded, wearing outdoor gear that looked expensive, professional. He was kneeling at the entrance to the shelter, setting down supplies, and he was talking. You couldn't hear what he was saying, obviously, but you could see his mouth moving. You could see Sarah's hand in the corner of the frame, raised as if to stop him from coming closer. Colorado investigators eventually identified him. His name was Marcus Dalton, a former park ranger who'd been fired 3 years before Sarah's disappearance for inappropriate conduct toward female hikers. In 1995, 3 years after Sarah vanished, Marcus Dalton died in a hiking accident in Wyoming. He fell from a cliff edge during a storm. By the time Sarah's camera was found, he'd been dead 22 years. he could never answer for what he did. The last 9 photographs in this series were the hardest for investigators to look at. Photos 197 through 203 showed the same view from the shelter, but the light was different, dimmer, as if Sarah's shelter had become darker or as if she'd moved deeper into the cave. The timestamps suggested these were taken over 2 days. And then, photo 204, the final photograph. It was blurry, shot in almost complete darkness. The flash had fired, illuminating nothing but rock walls and shadows. But in the center of the frame, barely visible, was Sarah's hand, reaching upward, toward light, toward the entrance of the cave, toward freedom she would never reach. The camera's battery died after that photograph, or Sarah did. Investigators would never know which happened first. Despite intensive searches of the area where the camera was found, Sarah Mitchell's remains were never recovered. The mountains, it seemed, wanted to keep one final secret. But those 204 photographs told a story that needed to be heard. They told the story of a young woman who refused to give up, who documented her ordeal not out of hope for rescue, but so that her family would know what happened, so that they would know she fought. They told the story of someone who loved life so much she spent her final days capturing it on film, even as that life slipped away. Sarah's photographs were eventually displayed in a traveling exhibition called The Last Witness. They've been seen by millions of people around the world. Her parents, now in their 80s, attended the opening. Her mother said that seeing her daughter's final photographs was like getting to say goodbye 25 years too late. Rebecca, Sarah's best friend, established a foundation in her name that teaches wilderness safety to young photographers. They've trained over 10,000 people in the past 7 years. And somewhere in the San Juan Mountains, in a place only the rocks and the wind know, Sarah Mitchell rests. A dreamer who chased beauty into the wild and paid the ultimate price. But she left us something. 204 moments frozen in time, 204 pieces of evidence that she existed, that she mattered, that she was here. And that's everything. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Sarah's story deserves to be remembered. Drop a comment and tell me, would you have done what Sarah did? Would you have chased your dream even if it meant going alone? And if you're out there chasing your own dream right now, please, please be careful. Tell someone where you're going. Don't go alone. The wilderness is beautiful, but it never forgets, and it never lets go.